In this section, we're going to talk about some UI enhancements, additional features that have been added, including a controller and a view. And we're going to jazz up the interface a little bit because, well, it's a little bit boring up to this point. So we're going to add Bootstrap into the mix and discuss how we can integrate that across our shell page and our different views. Up to this point, you've seen a lot of the key features in AngularJS, such as controllers and scope and views. We've talked about routes, factories and services, some of the built-in services like HTTP, and we even built a back-end service to serve up some JSON data. But our application, although it works, is a little bit on the plain side, I think you'd agree. Yeah, we can get to orders, but it doesn't look too hot. So we're going to take just a moment here to add some Bootstrap CSS into the mix and jazz it up a little. Now before I do that, there's been one view and one controller that's been added that we haven't talked about, so I'm going to show you that real quick, and that is an orders one. So we have an orders view and we have an orders controller, and all it does, as you see, is allows you to display some orders, and then you can come in and filter based on the different products. So we'll go ahead and leave that as is, but it doesn't look very well. The links are not looking so hot there, so we're going to look at Bootstrap in a moment, but before we do, let me jump in and show you what's been added. So first off, we have a little bit of header section here with a nav and a UL and LIs, and we're simply linking over to some routes. You've already seen the customer's route, but let's jump over to app.js, and you can see there's a new one for orders. And this loads all orders controller, and it loads all orders.html, the view. So if we go into the view, it's pretty standard. We've seen everything before that this does. We're going to iterate through some orders, write out the product and the total, do a little bit with some filters, and we even have the search filter here up top, and we have an order by. So pretty basic. The only thing different is it does have a custom property called orders total, and all of this, of course, goes into the scope. And if we run off to the controller, you'll see that here. So we have orders, orders total, and a total type, which we'll be talking about. So we're going to go off to the factory, and that's going to call in to get our orders. Once we get those, we're going to call to this get orders total, and we'll simply iterate through, and we're going to total those and assign it. Now, the only other thing we do is we have a little success or danger, and this is going to be assigned to our total type. And if our orders are less than 100, it's going to be danger. If they're greater than 100, it'll be success. You'll see where that comes into play a little bit later here. So that's some of the new features that have been added. Now let's jump on back to our shell, and let's see what we can do to jazz this up a bit with Bootstrap.